Okay, this is a test demo of my new game synSpace Drone Runner for Android, and I have it loaded on 3 tablets of varying sizes here: a small 5-inch phone, 7-inch tablet, and I guess that's a Kindle 8.5-inch. They're all in various phases. This one, I started it up before the network was available, so it can't find the internet, so we'll restart it. Look. Okay, so you see the splash. Okay, so it starts off, you get a little handbook that you can step through and read as you see fit to learn how the controls work. But the basic idea is you get to pick one of 8 ship colors. So I'll let this guy be red, and I'll let this guy be blue, and I'll let this guy be green. Okay, so now all 3 players are at their ship selection screen, and for a given screen, a given player, this is the blue player, hence the large amount of blue on the screen versus the large amount of green on the screen versus the large amount of red on the screen. As you can see, each guy has a little personalization: his face, his ship design, and more importantly here, your initial configuration of 6 pods. This one's got them evenly distributed between shields, weapons, and engines. And you have various ways of tapping this control to move them around. But that's your starting configuration. You can pick up more pods once you're once you're playing. This guy has also apparently not set this in a while. Do that, and let's just leave that guy where he is. Everybody's got a ship design of varying qualities. Now, they drew these themselves. That's the point of personalization. This guy's face is a little non-facey, but hey, you know, whatever floats your boat. Okay, so now when we're sure we are customized we want to be, we push the launch button, and our little drone spaceship enters the star system. Now, the star system we're in right now is called Map 0, and hopefully they're all in the same system. But we'll launch the blue player, and we'll launch the green player. Okay, so now they're all in world, and note that each one is aware of the others by these thumbs. Okay, and if I tap the blue thumb, I get a little info window about the blue player. So if I tap the blue thumb on each of these guys, I should see the same screen of information. Fodder Nax Ramus, rating 1100, rating 1100 Nax Ramus. Yeah, okay, so that information is just distributed peer-to-peer. It's not stored in any central repository. Okay, so now we know who we are, and we close those windows. And now we fly around. So the basic thing is, so there's pinch zoom. So I'm going to zoom in. You wouldn't normally do this. And fly the ship around a little bit. So turn on my engines. Engine, flying around. Zoom, zoom. But normally you'd probably zoom out a little bit so that you can see more of the world. And I'm going to pick up a power-up. You can see this thing called a power-up pyramid approaching me. Bonk, got it. And everybody was told that I got it. Everybody found out. And on me, that means that I now, well, I got an extra pod. So over here in my little pod list, I've got one more pod than I used to have. And pods just make you faster, stronger, more powerful. Anyway, so that's what you do there. Also, you have a radar here that helps you find the other players. So I'm going to see if I can find the blue player. I am the red player. And here I go. along. Oh, there he is. And I'll shoot my guns across his bow. And he, blue player, whoops. Okay, red player's going to shoot. Blue player sees it just missing him. Blue player shoots. Red player sees it just missing him. Everything's great. Okay, so green player now, he's going to join up. Oh, he's already got the red guy on his screens. And there's the blue guy. And you can do things like, I can go to the blue player, look at my controls are blue, I'm the blue player. I can click on the green thumb, and while on the green thumb, I can click spy on, and now this guy's camera drone leaves his ship. I'm still the blue player, but I'm now watching the green ship. So now I come back to the green ship, and I start flying him around. Look at me, I'm flying the green ship around. But if I look back on the blue player screen, I see the same things happening because I'm seeing it from the green player's point of view. That's sort of a spectator mode kind of thing, and there may be times when you're not allowed to do it. Anyway, just something you can do. Another thing you can do is if you open any player screen and then click on the pings button, you get this little chart. Here, I'll do it on all of them. Pings. He's a little arrow pointing to it. Pings. Okay, so now this is each player's perception of how accurately the other player's pings are arriving. So this is a phone, so this is going over Verizon, and the other two are on my local Wi-Fi. So green is on Verizon. Now you always see your own pings as being perfect, but that looks pretty good. I mean, that's pretty nice. And you can see how the red and blue don't seem to be going quite at the same speed. One's going slower than the other. But what happens is they're actually going to catch up. You know, it's like there's not going to be anything injected in there. They're just kind of be wrong for a bit and then catch up. And the idea, the game design is supposed to hide those deviations from you. But I show them to you so that you know what a good job it's doing or not. Okay, so that's that. There are various weapons you can pick. For example, if I am the green player, and if I click on the blue guy and I click here to make him my target, you see that on my screen now he has the little target symbol. He is my target. And some weapons, in particular these homing missiles, need a target. So this guy's ready to go now. And so I've targeted the blue player. So we look at the blue player screen, and he's just kind of sitting here. Let's give him some motion, give him a chance to survive. And now we'll just kind of launch the missiles. Launch one. We see it take off and head off to the left. And we see it not yet. Blue guy has no idea he's in trouble. And here it comes. And oh, it hurt him a little bit. How do you know how much? Well, his little life meter there is that little set of red things. The thing that looks about half full. So if we fire another missile at him, and then we watch him again, la la, we sort of expect the missile to come in from the direction of this green arrow. Oh. Boom, and we've been killed. And everybody gets told we died. And our rating has changed. Hey, remember didn't he have a rating of like 1100 or something before? Let's get back in our ship. And yep, look at that, our rating went down. Now it's 1099. Ah, this game has consequences. Okay, and the next thing we can do is we can all go to a different server. So here we are. These are the maps that are available to us right now, and these may or may not be in the final game, depending on how life goes. But you pick one and go into it. And this is number 35. Okay. And so it reconnects, and I opened that, so I gotta close it. And you'll notice that none of the thumbs seem to be in use, which is odd because the other players, they still see thumbs. But that's because we're on a different map, so therefore we're in a different server session from them. So we can be any color we want to be, but let's be green again, just so I don't get confused. Okay, so now we are in a different star map with so-called barriers. So these are things that you... why are my bullets not shooting? Oh, I picked up the flag. You can't shoot while you're carrying the flag. Capture the flag is a game option. I picked it up by accident. Anyway, let's bring the other guys over to this same map. So we'll go to this guy. And now we see, when we go to that same map on the list, we'll see now there's a little talkie face next to it. That means that there's one person playing that map. Now there are two. And go to the same map with this guy. Now he says there's two. And boom, and now there's three. Okay, so let's let this guy be the red guy. Let's make this guy the purple guy. I can take that much change in my life. Okay. So here we go. Got 3 players again. And the idea is that these maps are made by the players. You know, you get some maps with the game, but you also get an editor so that people can add their own maps and share them with the other players. And it's all peer-to-peer file distribution, asset management. And there's a scripting language based on Lua that has a little API into the game that is largely undefined at this point. But the Lua engine's working. Anyway, so that the map designer will not only be able to sort of design the look of the map, which I've come recently to the realization is kind of like in the browser metaphor, this would be the DOM, the document object would be the map, and it has a bunch of named fields, and then the script can turn those fields on and off, move them, and various things, such as opening a door after you've achieved some goal, or launching an NPC to hunt you down and kill you. Anyway, so there's that. So then social, there's this button called the social button, and I think I will, first of all, show you the text social. So let's push the social button on everybody once. Okay, so now we all have this boring little keyboard set up, and we type some text. Tap, 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 send. Yeah, I like that sound effect. Tappity, 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 tap, tap, send. And this one I can kind of reach, so I'll type some real words. Hi there! Exclamation points. And if you want, lowercase, you tap that. And if you want numbers and symbols, you tap that. And you push send. And if I didn't have the social key turned on, I would still see the text scroll along the top. So that's how the non-chatter knows that chat's happening. And there's a mute feature in there as well. So anyway, so in addition to the regular keyboard, there's also a music keyboard. And this is a synthesizer. It claims that instrument's called cello, which doesn't sound very convincing. But basically that's because it hasn't been programmed yet. So you're responsible for coming up with your own instruments, any that don't come with the game. And the idea is you have all of these contour generators along the top here, these tabs. And each contour generator drives one or more oscillators. And depending on the mix, you get a different sound. So if I tap one of these oscillators and turn it red, it removes it from the mix so you can hear the difference. A little steel drum sound. But in addition to turning them off completely, you can also adjust them individually, their decibel attenuation. And then by dragging these little lines around, you can change their envelope, their contour. So let's and there's a little oscilloscope here that you can look at to see the shape of what you're making. And you can pinch zoom on the oscilloscope, which would be more exciting if I have a louder signal. And you can see that it's kind of a sawtooth right now. That's because there's sort of a 1/n relationship kind of with the harmonics. These are the harmonics, the fundamental, second harmonic, third, fourth, fifth. And then, stop that. It's kind of small on this phone. Then there's some amplitude modulation, frequency modulation, noise, and filters available. And then there's this whole panel for knobs for little things that wouldn't fit in the actual synthesizer tab. And then the idea is once you've got something the way you like it, you clone it, you give it a name, like, I don't know, whistle. This is why the other one was called cello. Clone it. Okay, so now I've added a new one called whistle. It should auto-select it, and it doesn't. And now from now on, I can play that anytime I want. Now, some things sound better. I only have a 2-octave keyboard here, but the synthesizer has a 5-octave range, so you click there, and now the whole keyboard shifted up. Or down. Or down. And you can have these sort of quick slots for different, you sort of preload a certain number of instruments. And then at performance time, you can just go back and forth there. And let's see, I haven't finished my emulation code yet, so I'll skip that. So the groove code, the idea is that you have a sequencer, a 16-step sequencer, and 15 loop slots. And the idea is if I put in record mode and pick a loop slot, loop 1, these are the 16 notes in loop 1. And whatever instrument I have picked, if I just hit that, it'll play that instrument into these slots, which will then light up. And it just plays it over and over again. Then I pick a different slot. It's empty. And then I play some more. And I do that again. And I'm just trying to get something that's kind of not too out of tune and semi-rhythmic. And I should really be changing instruments. Anyway, so it's, you get out of it what you put into it. So now I'm done. So now I want to record a groove. So what I've got is I've got 7 loops defined in these 7 drum pad slots. That little hexadecimal number underneath, if you know hex, that actually tells you the actual rhythm pattern that's in that slot. But I'm hoping that if there's a pattern that you like a lot, you'll start to recognize its number. Like you might like 42A1 a lot, and later on in another performance, you'll actually see that 42A1 and it'll mean something to you because you've used it a lot, maybe. it's more informative than just one. This whether or not I'm going to have them keep flickering like that, I'm a little worried about, seizure stimulation or something. So that may not happen. But the idea is now we're going to record a jam into this groove. And so what we do is we go into jam mode, which is hard to see, but it's a little note there. And then we push record again. But now instead of recording the loops, we're recording the jam. So a little metronome starts up. And we have this control over our beats per minute. So to pep it up, what we'll do is we'll record it at like 60, and then we'll play it back at like 80, and people will think that we're really good. Except that I have a hard time playing along to that slow of a beat. I have a hard time playing along to beats anyway. Anyway, so the idea is that we can play notes in our song, or we can just turn our pre-existing loops on and off, which we'll start with that. So I've kind of wasted a bunch of time at the beginning here, so I'm going to push rewind, and that just gets it back to the beginning. And now start a loop. Just tap it. It's just one loop. Okay, now I'll start some more. Got a good little machine here. And if you change the button, if you hit the buttons every few seconds, it doesn't sound completely repetitive. If you have a loop with a strong thing like that peel in it, you probably don't want to leave it running forever. But then, at the same time, you can just play along. And again, you can pick any instrument you want. And when you're done, you just stop the recording. And now you can play it back. And we expect it to start with a loop. Pretty exciting, huh? We just wrote this piece of music. And you can re-record the loops, and you can re-record the jam, and you can, do things until you... Eventually I'll also allow multiple channels of jam, because I have a plan for which that is required. Anyway, I'm going to say that we love this song, and we just totally love it, so we don't have to listen to any more of it. And now we push this really tiny button here. And now, because we're listening to something that we like, we would like to keep a copy of it. So we say clone, and then we give it a name, and we call it Afternoon Trance. Okay, and we clone it, and now it's safe. We've got it forever until we push that delete button. Then it goes away. But if we want to play it again later, anyway, this tells us some stats about it now that it's part of the family. It's kind of ugly still. But we can play it, and it should sound the same. Okay, and now as a world designer, and this was kind of the whole point, I can now use that as music in my star map, and it can be music that is either just played back as a performance, or it's cued by the map script to come on and switch around as various things happen in the drama of the map. Or, since it's got this loop bank and this metadata of me turning the loops on and off, it's got enough to do a little bit of artificial intelligence to say, well, he seems to like that. I'll just do it kind of like that. And so it just sort of auto jams, following roughly the same pattern that you did in your creation of the groove. And for just something mindless running in the background, I think it's mission accomplished. Whether that makes music is your fault, not mine. And that is the quick tour of music. and the game. So little secondary things I haven't talked about. It's funny that I'm focusing so much on the small screen. I guess that proves that it is possible to play on a phone. Now, normally I would hold it as if the mobile device was a gamepad controller, and I'd have a thumb on the nav thing and a thumb on the weapons button on the trigger. Let's see, what do we got here? Just showed you that. Oh yeah, you have full camera control. I'm probably going to switch to a 3-finger slide metaphor for moving the camera around. Right now you have to hold this little camera button down at the same time that you move the navigation joystick. Oh, a little bit more about that. Turning left-right, you just move the joystick a little bit to the left, or a little bit to the right. It draws that little picture of your ship on it to kind of try and connote to you what it's doing. But the idea is you can turn quickly by moving your finger more to the left, or slowly by hardly moving it at all. But your engines, if you move it a little bit forward, your engines come on, and then they're just on. They're on full speed. And you can turn them off, or you can put them in reverse, but you can't put them on halfway or anything like that. So that's what you have to know when you're understanding the physics. You have inertia. So it's a semi-challenging game to play from that perspective, but it's not that hard. And it has some features like, okay, I'm going to, I am the green player. I'm going to tell the purple player to target me. So now the purple player hates the green. I'm a little confused. I'm the purple player. Did I not do it right? Target. Oh, I guess I did it wrong. Okay, so the green guy is the target. So the purple player is going to shoot a missile at the green guy. But the green guy has, oops, where's that? Sorry. The green guy has these shields. They're in the wrong slot right now for various reasons. So I'm going to fire the missile. Getting confused. I select, I fire, and now this guy waits for it to come, and then when it shows up, well, I think I was a little late, but he turned on his shield, and that kills any weapons that go inside of it while it's on. And so there's more power-ups, there's more weapons, there's more shields, there's more things. And that's the kind of thing also that the map designer can add new stuff up for his map. And here I am coming up on another flag. See that long green line sticking in front of me? That's the direction I'm actually headed. So that's the best thing to use when you're steering. There's also some options. Nothing all that interesting. You can stop if you want to cheat. If you're a coward. There's probably more, but that was pretty exhaustive and long. Bye.